Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanessa. As most of you know me, I go by Vieja on Instagram and on here. Today's video, I'm bringing you guys with a story time about a dumbass that I do not like. This is work related. She does not work with me. She works 2 doors down, okay? So please remember to subscribe, like, and comment at the end of this video your reactions or what do you guys think I should do or anything like that. Just put it down in the comments below. Anyways, where can I start? Okay, so I work in a store where we have multiple locations. We have recently opened our 3rd location. We have been there since I'd say June, alright, so where we work or where the store is, there's a lot of shops all around. There's no people living above us or anything. It's just straight up stores. So alright, so we are here, right? There's a bar and then there's a Mexican restaurant right next to the bar. The lady she works or she owns a Mexican restaurant. So she is this older woman, probably in her 50s, 60s. I'd say more in her 60s. She is not the nicest person. She's really fucking annoying. Alright, so we moved in June, right? We're new to the block. We wanna, be the best neighbors that we can be. So, as most of you know, I'm a manager. So, I manage these stores. So, there is a back alley behind the stores. This back alley is kind of big, but not that big, where we can park our car. So this all started me disliking her from the moment I parked my car back there. Alright, so I come from another store. I'm transferring a few things to this store from that other store. My boss told me, go ahead, we have a parking spot right behind the alley, right by our doorway. You can park there if you want. So I go and I park. So before I get there, there's already a bunch of cars back there. There's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 cars back there already. So it's all stacked up, literally. So I park literally, like, I'm basically blocking off everyone. So I leave a note on my car dashboard saying, hey, I'm here. If you guys need me to move, please let me know. I'm transferring things in. Alright, so I'm bringing things in, right? I'm inside and I start talking to my co-manager and we're talking or whatever. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go get some food next door real quick because there's a bunch of places to eat down there. So she's like, yeah. So I'm like, call me if anybody needs me to move. I'll come right away. So I'm getting food. I come back and my co-manager at the time was like, hey, the lady's really angry. She came yelling at me, telling me that you need to move your car. So I go, and so it's the lady from the bar. It looks like these 2 ladies teamed up. So the lady from the bar comes and she's yelling and she's like, oh, you can't park here because you're blocking. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm just transferring things inside. I left a note on the dashboard. She's like, no, you didn't. I checked. I'm like, come with me real quick. So she comes with me and I'm like, what is this here? It's a note. And she's like, she felt stupid. So she didn't say anything. Like, she just had her attitude at that moment. And she was like, well, you can park somewhere else if you want. Like, you don't have to park in here. And I'm like, I'm allowed to park in here, okay? I was told by my boss that I can park in here, okay? You're not gonna tell me that I can't park here, okay? First of all. Second of all, I'm transferring shit inside to my store. So I mean, I have a lot of things that I need to get out of my car and take inside. I'm not gonna park blocks away just because you don't like it. All right? So I gave her mad attitude. Like, she felt stupid and didn't know what to say. So I move out my way, you know, so she could get the fuck out and I can get in. So she leaves. Then I go in to where she was. All right, so this is where it gets a little juicier. So I'm parking, I park, go inside, you know, I'm with my co-manager, blah, 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 talking about different things. And then you see this lady in the back, because, okay, mind you guys, so we have our area, you know, where we can be, and then there's a patio in the back, and then there's the door to the alley. So we see her standing at the door in the alley, the Mexican lady from the Mexican's restaurant. And she's just standing there, and then my co-manager's like, oh, I think it's for you. I think you gotta move or something. So I'm like, no problem. So I go to the back, and I'm like, hi, yeah. And she feels like she has the right to yell at me like she knows me, or like she's my mama or something, because she's like, didn't we tell you can't park back here already? We already told you you're not allowed to park back here. I need to talk to your boss because employees aren't supposed to park back here. Bitch, when she said that, ooh, my blood was rushing up and down my body. My hands, I was containing them, waiting, you know, just holding off not to beat this old lady's ass. And I hit her with the, oh, like I told the lady next door, I'm transferring my car inside. I'm not gonna park far away because I need to bring inside, and I'm allowed to park back there, okay? My boss told me I can park back there because I am the manager. And then she was like, oh, you're the manager? Yes, bitch. What difference does it make? What, you think you could talk to my employees like that? No. So then she goes, well, you need to stop raising your voice at me. I told her, I'm talking to you the same way you're talking to me. If you don't like the way I'm talking to you, I don't like the way you're talking to me. So don't talk to me like that. And she changed her whole attitude. She turned into this nice lady, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, so that's one incident. Whew. All right, second incident was a few months later. You know, I stopped working at that area so often. So I would usually just pick up shifts here and there. So the second, what time was it? I had a shift. I parked back there. Okay, I lied. We're gonna bring it back all the way back, because I was hella off. All right, so that was the first incident, right? The parking in the back or whatever. She tried to tell me I can't park there, whatever. Incident 2 was when, so this was during our busy time, August, September, you know, the hot days in San Francisco. So our machines, we have machines that, you know, take up a lot of light, so, or a lot of energy. So we just moved in there. It had something to do with like our compressor or something like that, right? Some whatever electricians know about, that's what the problem was. It was making the lights go out. So we have one huge generator, and this generator takes care of the light for us, for the bar, and for the goddamn Mexican restaurant. So we have these machines that take up a lot of energy, and we didn't have the right like bulbs or something like that with enough energy to contain everything. So the lights went out, the power went out, our power went out, everything. The bar's power went out, the restaurant's power went out. We were confused. It was busy. So I'm working with my coworker, and you know, cool dude, whatever. And you know, we're freaking out because we're like, what do we do now? So kicking everyone out the store. I call my boss. I'm like, hey, the power's out. Nothing's working. Can you come here? So she's like, yes, I'll be on my way. I'm gonna call an electrician to come over. So whatever that happens, right? So I go next door and I'm like, hey, your power went out? She's like, yeah. I go to the restaurant. I didn't want to go, but I go and I'm like, hey, did your power go out? And then they were like, yeah. So I go to the following place, which is a Pete's, and I'm like, hey, did your guys' lights go out? They're like, no, we're good, whatever. So this is when we found out that our 3 shops all share the same energy. Great. So I go back to my store. My boss calls me and she's like, hey, can you go back to the back patio and check on, you know, the light gear or whatever. So I open it and I'm like, oh yeah, like I'm looking at it, whatever. The bar has a patio too, so you know, you can hear everything. So my boss is like, oh, is this and this okay? I'm like, yeah, it's exactly how you said it, whatever. She goes, oh, there's a stick, like a power lever or something like that, right? She's like, what side is it up? Is it up or is it down? I'm like, it's up. I'm like, do you need me to switch it off and bring it down? She goes, no, let's just wait till the electrician gets there so we don't mess with anything. I'm like, okay, totally cool, you know, not touching anything. All right, so I go inside and we're just literally hanging out, waiting for someone to show up, you know, because at this point we can't do anything, like physically we can't do anything. We can't do run cells, we can't do nothing. So we're hanging out and then she comes in and she goes, hey, did you touch anything back there? At this point, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, no, why? And she's like, oh, I just heard you pulled something and all of a sudden it did this weird thing. In my head, I'm like, no, you didn't. I'm like, I didn't pull anything. I didn't touch anything. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, did I not just say I didn't? She's like, okay. And she left. I'd say 5-10 minutes later, her son comes. Great. What can I do for you now? He goes,
hey, are you sure you didn't pull anything back there?
and he's like fake nice. And this is a type of nice that I hate. And then I go,
no, I just told your mom that I didn't.
And he goes, are you sure? Because I heard you on the phone talking to someone saying if you should pull something.
I'm like, in my head, I'm like, bitch, were you really eavesdropping on my phone call? Like, no, I didn't. I just told your mom that I didn't touch anything back there. I was talking to my boss. I asked her if she wanted me to pull it. She said, no, I didn't touch it. She told me to wait for the electrician, and now that's what I'm doing. He goes,
oh, well, it's that. It made a funny noise, or, you know, like the power flickered kind of weird right after I heard you say that.
bitch, how do you know that? First of all, you were in the back patio. You weren't even inside. If you were eavesdropping on my phone call, right? How is it that you seen it flicker or whatever? So I'm like, at this point, you could tell I was aggravated and I was really annoyed. And I'm like
I said, I didn't touch anything.
I asked my boss if she wanted me to. She said no. I didn't do it. Okay? So he's like,
Are you sure?
I'm like, I told him, I'm like, do you need me to repeat myself? How many more times do you need to hear me say no? And then, so he leaves, scrams. So at this point, I'll call my boss and I'm like, hey, just got into it with the neighbors. Apparently they were eavesdropping on our phone call. And they assume or want to sit there and think that I'm the cause of the power going out. So she's like, what the hell? They were eavesdropping? That's hella weird. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know? Right? Whatever. The electrician comes. He fixed whatever the problem was. Turns out it wasn't even me. It was no one. It was a generator. It did, like I said, it didn't have the right capacity in the bulb or something like that, that they needed to go buy another bulb to get that capacity. All right, that's incident 2. Then after that, there's a lot of tension still, you know, like when I would park and like, because most of the times we would get there at the same time almost. So like you could hear her snarky little remarks, and I'd ignore it or pretend I didn't hear her, because, you know, I just didn't have time to deal with this lady. I didn't want to deal with her, so, you know, I went about my day. As of recent, like a month or so ago, I would park in the back, right? And I would park next to my entrance. And so there's a liquor store, right? So everything's concrete, and then to a certain point, it stops and it becomes dirt. And then it goes into the next businesses. So I would always park, but I would never go past the concrete. So then one day my boss comes and she goes, hey, do you mind when you park in the back if you go all the way and have your tires on the dirt, because they can't fit, and, you know, a lot of cars come in. So I'm like, yeah, no problem. In my head, I'm like, I know this bitch, you know, making up whatever she wants to make up, because for a long time she didn't have a problem. Why all of a sudden? You know, she must have got bored or something. As of a few weeks ago, she gets here first, right? So she pulls up and she parks next to my entrance, which doesn't really matter who parks where, you know, as long as we all could park. So she parks there, but she parks where she's parked by my door and she's parked by the bar. So literally she's blocking 2 spots. So I'm pulling in and like the other side's already filled up. So I'm pulling in and like I'm literally like blocking a lot of the entrance to get out. So she gets off her car and then she's passing by my car, and I roll my window down and I'm like, hey, can you please go all the way back just like you want me to go all the way back? I'm like, because obviously I can't stay like this, because like you said, the bar lady doesn't like you blocking her door, so I don't want to block her door, and you're taking up 2 spots. So she looks back at her car and she goes,
I don't really want to. I don't feel like going back there.
When she said that, I started rolling up my window because I got so aggravated, so agitated. I was ready to get off that car and beat her ass at that point. So as I'm rolling my window up, and she's like,
oh, let me see what I can do.
you're not doing me a favor, okay? You're not. Okay, because if you want to play that game, I can play that game and I can start parking just like you. Okay? And I'll start blocking you off. Then she goes all the way back, right? And then I just go back. And then I close my door so she doesn't come in through my back door at all. That happens. Like 2 hours later, she comes in all nice, all of a sudden, all cheery and happy. Hey, I forgot my phone at home. Do you mind moving so I could get out? In my head, I'm like, bitch, I know you're not gonna go anywhere far. You just don't want to park in the back. I'm like, yeah, sure. Give me a sec while I was bullshitting, right? So I go, I move, whatever. So I go back in. When she comes back, she parks in front of me or whatever. So then going back, because I skipped a lot right now, right? When she told me that, I rolled my window up on her. And then, so, whatever, I'm getting off. And she goes,
well, you never go all the way back there anyways. So, you know, why do I need to?
I'm like, I do go to the back. You made a complaint to my boss without telling me first that I was, you know, in your way or something. You know, you didn't come to me. You went straight to my boss to tell her. And don't get me wrong, my boss is hella cool. Like, she can't stand this lady either. So, I'm like, I always have my tires to the back so you can fit in here, okay? And then she's like, no, you don't. And I'm like, I do. I'm like, do I need to take pictures or videos every time I fucking park? And she's like, I'm not gonna argue with you. Okay, I'm not arguing with you either. Bye. You're like disturbing me. So, whatever, gone. Then she needs me to move because she needs to leave or whatever. Right, that happened, right? I was literally like, I had it. Like, I can't stand this lady. I don't want to deal with this lady anymore. Like, if I could stop working at this location, it'll make my life better. So I immediately text my boss and I'm like, hey, I think I've reached the most I can reach in dealing with this lady. Like, I cannot deal with her anymore. Like, I try to be nice to her. I try to ignore her when she tries to make snarky remarks. I'm like, not even the lady next door at the bar gives me bullshit anymore. Like, we're cool or whatever. Like, I'm like, her son doesn't even give me bullshit no more, you know? Like, this lady literally has issues that she needs to work on because she literally likes to fight and bicker with everyone and anybody. Like, I can't imagine how it is to be one of her employees because I would not deal with this lady. And so the pettiness in me came, right? I block 2 spots just like she did. She comes and she's like, hey, like, can you go back? Like, I need to pull in. I'm like, I don't really feel like it. And I think she knew because at that point she was like, and I'm like, yeah, bitch, doesn't feel good, does it? And then, so anyways, I pull back, whatever. All right, so that happened. Then today, we have power washers that come and clean our bins, clean our patio, everything, right? Because my boss likes to be a good fucking neighbor, right? She doesn't want the back smelling. She doesn't want anything to avoid dealing with this lady. Mind you, everyone else, like the bar, even herself, she gets power washers to clean her bins. So we have our power washers cleaning our bins today. And this is not the first time she's argued with our power washers. Like, she's gotten into it with them before. And like, the owner of the power washing company usually comes and helps. So they've gotten into it, you know, like really bad. And you know, like my boss, she literally like tries to take the high road with this lady and tries to be nice and tries to be like, hey, stop coming down at my employees or workers or people I hire throat. Like, it's not cool. And like, this lady's like crazy. Like, she comes off rude and I don't think she knows she comes off rude and yelly, and you know. And then, you know, when you start giving her that same type of energy, she wants to bring it down a notch. Or like, you know, when you tell her like this lady, like my boss is like, when she starts coming down at your throat, give her compliments. And she's always like, I told my boss, I'm not giving her compliments. No, like, no. So today the power washers are there, right? And I'm like, I hope this lady doesn't find anything to say to them. So I go on my break, whatever, while they're there. I come back, they're ready to go, and the owner of the power washing company goes, that lady next door is like, how do you guys deal with her? I'm like, I don't. I'm like, I do not get along with this lady. I hate this lady. He goes, she was literally just talking shit, saying that I don't need to clean the bins back there, that her car is getting wet, this, and that. Ever they leave, and then my boss comes in like 20-30 minutes later, and I'm like, hey, like, she gave the power washer shit again. My boss at this point, she was over it. She was like, this is enough. I'm not gonna keep going with this, trying to talk to her. Like, this is too much. Like, no mas. Like, I'm gonna go talk to her. So she goes or whatever, and then she calls me later to tell me the chisme. And she goes and tells her, oh, you need to stop yelling at my employees, people I hire. If you don't like that your car gets wet, go park somewhere else. I do this to be nice to you guys so our bins don't smell, so it's not dirty back here. I'm doing all this and paying all this extra money to have these power washers for you, so you don't have shit to talk about. And then she goes, oh, I wasn't even yelling at them. This Latina lady is one of the worst. She's the Latinas that want to be white. You know what type of ladies those are. So my boss is like, whatever the case is, if you have anything to say about my employees, you want to say anything about my workers I hire, whatever the case is, you bring it up to me. You don't talk to my employees. You don't talk to whoever I hire. You don't talk to my vendors. You don't talk to them. You have an issue, you bring it with me. And her son comes out, she said, and that her son was trying to side with her mom, and that my boss was like, no, enough is enough. Like, you need to side with me on this because you know how your mother is. And I try to be a good neighbor. You know the fakeness comes out after that. So now we're gonna see how this lady acts. I'll try to record it and post it on my Instagram. But yes, this is my life with this lady next door. I try to avoid her as much as I can, if I can. If I can't, well, that's that. But yeah, that's my life with this stupid ass lady next door that I cannot stand. But yeah, that's my story time. I hope you guys liked it, even though it was a little boring. I am the worst person to tell stories because I'm all over the place when I tell stories. So I hope you guys got the point of that. This lady works up my nerves, even just me talking about her, like, you know? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Comment down below what you would have done. I want to hear your guys' responses of what would you do in my situation, you know? All right, thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.